Hey, what's up? Happy Monday, guys. It's Gabe Monterey with Nerd Tech, and I'm making a video today about CloseBot.ai. It's the software that I use to connect to Go High Level for my chatbots. I've had a lot of people reach out to me. If you've been following my YouTube, you know I use air.ai for my AI calling, and I connect that to Go High Level. You can trigger calls, call your leads with it, follow-ups. It's absolutely amazing, but it doesn't do chatting. And so the what I use is CloseBot.ai. I have a white label account. I can get you underneath me, and I don't upcharge the pricing. I think if you go to their website, it's $99 for 3 bots and either $297 or $397 for unlimited. So whatever that is, I charge the same amount. I get you underneath me. I do charge a minimal setup fee unless you go with my GHL account, then I give you 1 bot for free. But putting all that stuff aside, I just wanted to go through the CloseBot interface if you guys are already using it, or if you want me to implement this for you. I just wanted to show you kind of how it worked because it does work really, really cool. I absolutely love engaging with chatbots first when I'm doing any sort of new lead or follow-up engagement, just because majority of the people these days love to text versus phone call. So I actually use the AI calling as my backup to try to get in touch with these people. But when I go to my dashboard on CloseBot.ai, I'm actually on my bot called HF New Lead. So this one would be engaging new leads. On the dashboard right here, it actually shows us a history of all of our messages. Of course, all this is linked up to the contacts in GHL as well. So you'll be able to see all the conversations and respond to them. You can turn off the bot and jump in, interrupt it, all inside of GHL on the contact card in the messages section. So just to kind of show you an overview of this, we're going to go to Modify Bot, which is where all the magic happens. This is where we integrate, where we change the objectives, where we train it, give it knowledge, all that type of stuff. So on the first general page here, this label is just for internal, where we can see what bot we're using. We can give the bot a name. You can give it a delay if you want it to be more realistic. Maybe you think it's answering too fast. Um, 0 seconds is good if you're using this for like a chat widget on a website. Those you usually want to respond very quickly. Most people already know that those are bots, but for texting purposes, sometimes it's good to have this at like a 20 or 15 or 20-second delay. That way it's not responded immediately. It doesn't seem so robotic. Another cool thing is you can actually have it do typos. I've seen anywhere from 5 to 10% be kind of a good point where it'll do a typo, just makes it seem more realistic. You can also break up larger messages, so if it needs to respond, instead of also looking robotic with one big long message, it can break that message up like humans do, where they'll send like 2 or 3 small messages back to back to back. A good frequency on that would be like anywhere from 30 to 60%, works pretty well. And then when we go to integrate, here's where we connect it to Go High Level. You can put in your OpenAI key. You can also buy credits directly on the system and just have some money there so that it uses the credits. Tagging, this is self-explanatory, but when any of these things happen, it auto tags the contact just so you know what's happening. When that is in GHL, if any of these tags are triggered, you can create notifications or automations to happen after that. And then this is getting into the real heart of what's going on. Under the main, this is where we give it just a broad overview. We don't want to do any specifics here, but we give it a broad overview on why is this conversation happening. Again, we don't want to give it specifics such as your job is to book an appointment because we're going to talk about that in the objective. A broad overview is uh, this lead is reaching out to you because they're possibly interested in selling their house. They filled out a form online. That is what a broad explanation would sound like. We don't want it to say your job is or anything like that because that's going to be done in objectives. Important business information. This is basically like a mini knowledge base. There is a bigger knowledge base you can connect if you have a lot of stuff, but honestly, these bots work really, really well. The less you add and just be more specific, the better. So just give it just some brief details on what people might ask, like your business name, your hours, anything else you want it to know specifically about your business, you can put it in important business information, and the bot will be able to respond appropriately. How to respond is kind of an advanced area where once you start having messages, if you're not really happy with the way they sound, or maybe it's giving too many emojis, you can kind of give it some direction and hone in on it here and say, hey, don't do that, do more of this, or different things like that. But it works pretty good with just the default how to respond. Anytime you create a bot, there are some defaults right here when you click plus. You can also clone one that you've already made. And if you click the plus, any of these defaults here already have this information pre-filled, so it gives you a good starting point on knowing what you should have in there. Now we're getting into the real heart of things, which is the objectives. This is what the bot is going to do when he's chatting. So this is what you're telling the bot, hey, I want you to collect the property address first. So for example, this is for real estate. I want you to collect the property address first, and we give it a very concise prompt right here, find out what the address they want to sell. That's all we have to do. If for some reason it's not working, then you can give it an extra prompt right here to give it a little bit more direction on this one. But this prompt needs to be short and concise. You don't want it to be really any longer than the end of this line here, and then you can expand on it in this extra prompt right there. Then the sensitivity basically just is telling the bot less than 50 is not appropriate to move forward to the next objective. Higher than 50 is an acceptable response. And max attempts right here, when it's off, this means that it's not going to move forward to the next objective until it has an appropriate response, which in this case would be collecting an address, and it needs to be over that 50. So if somebody says, oh, it's in Independence, or they just say a city, it's going to know that's not an address. That's going to give it a score less than 50. And since max attempts is turned off, it's not going to move forward until it gives it an appropriate address. Now, if you turn max attempts on, a good range is 2 to 3, and what this means is okay, if they don't want to give you the address, then you'll try 2 to 3 times to ask in different ways, and then but you'll go ahead and move on to the next objective. You're not going to keep bugging them. So off means you won't move forward unless you get appropriate answer. On means you will move forward after this many attempts. So moving forward, you can book an appointment. We can connect this to your GHL calendar, and then your GHL calendar be connected to your Google Calendar, so you can get all these appointments synced up. And then some people put this at the very end. I have it in the middle because after I get the appointment booked, since this is a new lead, I want to make sure and capture that on the calendar, but then I ask permission afterwards to get more information, so we can ask things like what's their timeline, what's their motivation. And here's an example of where we say approximate timeline for sale, and then we give it a little bit more instruction on what that means so they can understand. So again, these prompts right here is how you hone in on the objectives. The main area is just where we give it a broad overview on why the conversation is happening and some important business information. And then right here is where we get in on the specifics on this is exactly what I want you to collect, and this is how I want you to collect the information. There is one more feature here called Give Info. This is not used very often. Gather is the main one. Give Info is a new feature. If you turn that on, it would turn this green. And Give Info is for maybe like you want to give your website address. Maybe it's at the end of the conversation. You want to just give a closing statement, something like that. But most of the time, you're just going to be using Gather Info because you're going to be asking questions to the prospect. That's pretty much a quick overview. That's all I really wanted to go over. If you guys love this and want help implementing it, let me know. If you want to open up your own CloseBot account, I appreciate if you use my affiliate link. And you can always click my calendar link below. I have a link directly to my calendar, so you can schedule a time to book with me if you want to see a live demo in your industry, or you want some extra help getting this set up or whatnot. Just let me know. So have a good week, guys, and enjoy automating things.